Okay, so let's recap whatever we have done till now. Okay. Um, so in the last lecture, we have learned about the components and the string interpolation. Like if you have variables in your TypeScript file, then how do you use them in your HTML file? So we have used string interpolation, which is nothing but double curly braces. Whatever variables or functions that you have, you can include them in double curly braces in the HTML file, and then you will be able to see its value. Okay, so that is nothing but a string interpolation where your JavaScript code is evaluated. Okay. Then later on, we have created a component. Okay, using Angular CLI. We have used one command to generate Angular component, C for component, G for generate. Okay, and then component name, and then we specified the module name as well. So where your component will be declared, so that also we have done, and then we have also seen how to use an object in a HTML file. Okay, and also if you have an array, okay, how you can loop through that array in HTML file using ng form. Okay, so till this we have learned in the last lecture. So today, first, what we will do is first we will add Bootstrap into our application. We will make it some we will add some UI on the application, and then we will start with data binding form. Okay, so let's see how to add any global style or any of the like CSS framework that you have, or a global style that you have. How can you add that onto your Angular application? Okay, so Bootstrap is a CSS framework, so we can go to getbootstrap.com. Okay, here in the in for opening page itself, you can see how you can install Bootstrap into your application. So, and it's an npm command, so you can directly use this npm command in your command prompt or in your Angular application, because your entire application is built on Node.js. It uses npm to install packages. Okay. We also have a package.json file where we have all the packages for Angular. Okay, so now let's install Bootstrap. So I can copy this. Okay, you don't need to even add this @ symbol, because this is just to specify the version. Okay, if you want to install latest version, you can simply use npm i bootstrap, that will install the latest stable version. Okay, so you can press Ctrl C and let's add Bootstrap. We can add Bootstrap using npm i bootstrap. Once you add it, you will see your Bootstrap has been added in your package.json file. Here you will see the Bootstrap package has been added. Okay. Now, once it is added, now how can you add the Bootstrap in your application? Okay. Or let's say any global style. Okay. Now, Bootstrap is a global style. We can use it for your entire application. Okay. So how do you add it? So there are like three ways to add it. Okay. First is using directly index.html. Now index.html, in the index.html, we can add styles, script files. Okay. So that is the one way. Okay. Let's see how to use it here. Okay. So I'll just add a link tag with CSS. So rel style sheet. And here you need to specify the style path, href. Okay. So what path you can specify? If you directly want to use the CDN path, then you can go to the documentation and there you will find the CDN path as well. So you don't need to install Bootstrap as well. But if you are serving it on your own server and you don't need a CDN for that, then in that case you can use you can download Bootstrap in your application and then you can use it. Okay, but it's better to download and install it, because later on when we will see how to build your application, Angular application, and create a production build. At that time, your entire CSS bundle will be wrapped inside a single CSS file. Okay, so there will not be any multiple calls to other files. Okay, yeah, but you can use CDN if required. That's fine. Okay, so if you have downloaded it, or You can download it as well. Okay, you can download compiled CSS as well. You will get CSS files and JS files. You can use them in your you can copy and paste them in your assets folder, and then you can use it. Or else if you have downloaded them, then you can directly use the node modules folder. Okay, so here in this you will see in the node modules folder you will find a bootstrap folder. In that you have dist folder. Dist is basically distributed folder. Okay, so it is like compiled, all the compiled CSS files you will get it here. Okay, but if you want to customize bootstrap, okay, then you can use this SCSS. Okay, SCSS you can use it to customize your bootstrap, to customize themes. Okay, so for that purpose you can use it. And in bootstrap also every component has its own style. Okay, so if you need only some of the components you can use them, or else if you need the entire bootstrap you can just use bootstrap.scss. Okay, you can enter a path here. Okay, so the path can be like node underscore modules slash so it is inside node modules. Inside node modules we have a bootstrap folder, so it will be bootstrap slash scss slash, it is the file name is bootstrap.scss. So we can write bootstrap.scss. Okay, we can save it and we can run it. Oops, not this one. Npm start. Once you run it, your index C, your entry point is index.html file. So this link tag is anyway is going to come, right? So it will use Bootstrap globally. Let's see once you install it. Okay, so it's compiled. You can visit localhost colon 4200. Just I think the path is not correct. Okay, console uh, thing slash node models. Let's see. I think this path they have changed, I guess, last time. Mm, no worries. What you can do is you can just copy this bootstrap.scss or this entire SCSS folder in your assets folder, and then you can load it. Okay. So if you want to do that, you can just copy this SCSS or entire bootstrap folder as well. Copy and paste inside assets folder. Paste. Okay. And in this you will see the bootstrap folder, and in that you can directly access this bootstrap folder because it's declared as assets. Okay, because if you see the angular.json file, here you will see the assets section. In this assets section, the src slash assets is a folder which is directly accessible through URL. Okay, so if you include anything inside this, it is directly accessible. Okay, that means if I do slash bootstrap slash scss slash bootstrap.scss, then it is directly accessible. You can go and visit your page. क्या हो रहा है? Because its main type is text slash HTML. I think something is wrong with this.
Angular has prohibited the import of style sheet directly into the HTML file.
It was working last time in the
Yes,
Angular
but
14
since
as well.
Angular,
In Angular 14 as well, but I don't know. They might have changed
maybe, yeah,
the latest version because uh, for this project we have installed a new version, right? So might be the issue. So no worries if it is removed, but you can include CDN files. Okay, CDN files will work. Copy. Paste. See, CDN files will work. You can see it is included in your link. Okay, so bootstrap.bootstrap means CSS file. So you can see the font has been changed. If you want to check, you can just hover over it and you can check the files that has been included or the uh, style that has been included, reboot.scss, which is coming from your bootstrap. Okay, so that way you can change it. Okay, if you have a CDN link. Okay, and another way, like the second way that you can do is, I'll just remove this. Okay, because since we can't use this one. Second way is using angular.json file. Okay, in angular.json, you can specify your global styles. Okay, as you can see, src styles.scss. Here you can specify the style part. Okay, so
Sir, you might have to go like ऐसा
I
dot
need
करके
to stop it.
backspace.
Yeah, I need to stop it, right?
Hmm.
First, you need to stop it because angular.json file is only picked up when you start your application. Once your application is started, angular.json file will not be picked up whenever there is a restart or like a file is changed. Okay, this is only picked up at the start. Okay, so you can say node underscore modules slash bootstrap slash scss slash bootstrap dot scss. Okay. Uh, yeah. So let's see if I run this. So, okay. Let's see. Now you can see your bootstrap has been loaded. You can check it like index.html. I have commented this line, okay, and I have added it through styles, okay, styles from your angular.json. Now where has it been loaded? Okay, so if you check in your head section, okay, there is one. Not this one. The style.css file is created. Okay, this file is actually compiled file. Okay? And if you open this file in a new tab, you will see the entire bootstrap has been loaded into this file. Okay, so you can check that in the style.scss file there is no bootstrap, but still this code has been added because when you start your application, okay, if you are making any changes into angular.json, then Angular, what it does is it will just copy whatever there in the bootstrap.scss into your global style.scss, and then it will create a new compiled file CSS. Okay, and then it will run. So you can see the entire bootstrap has been copied into your this file. Okay, if you want to check that this is the same file or not, you can go at the end and you can check this command. You can add global styles to this file and also import other styles. This is the same command which is here. Okay, so bootstrap has been added before this. That means your global style.scss, you can override your bootstrap classes after this. So whatever is included in styles.scss will override your bootstrap file because bootstrap code is included before this. Okay, and that's because we have included bootstrap.scss before style.scss. Okay, so that if you include that after this one, then style.scss will be included first, and after that bootstrap will be included. Okay, so your order of including a file, it matters. Okay, so understood how to include CSS, global CSS through your angular.json file, and how does it add it to your how is it added to your Angular application?
What if I want to include or reference some file which is on some other folder or other drive?
From I couldn't get you, Rajesh, the last sentence.
Like what if I like if the file is present in some other folder, like three
हाँ,
folders, तो कैसे उसको कैसे reference करेंगे फिर?
so if file is present in assets folder, okay, you can directly access it. Now you can see node modules folders is directly accessible inside angular.json file. But if you place it in uh, like in assets folder, it is accessible. But if you place it outside of this assets folder, it is not accessible. Okay, because let's say you have this app folder, right? Inside app folder, we have a favicon.ico, we have main.ts file. Let's see whether they are accessible or not. Okay, so if I just check and go to localhost 4200 slash app.ts or main.ts, okay, it is not accessible. You will directly see this file. Okay, why? Because everything is prevented by default. Everything is prevented. Okay, only the things we basically which we specify inside this asset section. Okay, in angular.json, whatever is specified inside this asset section will only be accessible from your URL. Okay, that means if I add anything, let's say if I add one variable, let's say folder, public folder. Okay, and inside that, let's say I define one file. Um, uh, let's say db.json, okay, something like this, and there is a json um, e colon value. Okay, so this is my json file. Okay, and I want to access this json file globally. If I try to access it directly now, okay, if you say public slash db.json, it is not accessible. Okay, because it is not included in your assets section. If you want to try after running it again, you can try it out. Okay, you can try running your application again, and then try to access it again. You will not get the JSON file. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to add this public folder. Okay, src slash public folder in your assets section. Okay, so here we can say public src slash public. And now I'm not saving it. Let's first check whether this works or not here. So if I refresh, you will see the file is not accessible. Okay, but I need to stop it again because I'm making changes in the angular.json file. So if I do src slash public, now this public folder is accessible directly. Okay, now if you save it, actually it is accessible like db.json itself. Okay, but now let's see. Okay, it's done. Then now this public folder is like directly accessible. So we can go to public db.json. See, you can see JSON file now. Okay, so if you want to access any file outside of this like assets folder, and if you want to make it as assets public folder, then you need to add that folder in your assets section. Then only you will be able to access that file. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll keep it as it is, okay, for your reference. Now, see, this is the one way that we can do it, or this is the second way actually. First way is like you can add index in the index.html file, but I guess in the latest version they have removed directly accessing a file from node modules. So your CDN link can work, okay. But if you want to add a file which is there in your folder, or if there is a file in node modules folder, then you can add it in a style section, okay. Or there is another way as well, okay. So that is nothing but your styles.scss, okay. As you can see, when I am running your application and when I'm running application directly, so your basically CSS code is included in styles.scss. That means this file is actually compiled at the end. Okay, in the final build style.css file is created. All the code is basically combined into a styles.css file. So if I include the this bootstrap.scss in this style.css, then it will be available directly in a final build. Okay, how can we do it? We can use @import. Okay, in the @import, you need to specify the URL. Okay, which is nothing but you can type tilde directly, because you can directly access node modules folder using tilde bootstrap slash scss slash bootstrap dot scss. Okay, I will remove this from here because I cannot comment anything inside a JSON file. Okay, so I need to remove it from here. Okay, I'll remove it and restart my application again. First, let me save it and restart. Okay, so my application is compiled. Let's go and refresh. See, you can still see now Bootstrap has been included because the font has been changed. Okay, that means your Bootstrap has been included. You can check it in styles.ss, open it in a new tab. You'll see Bootstrap is again included. Okay, you can check at the end as well. I think it was added at the top, or maybe yeah, it is added here. Okay, so after this, your Bootstrap has been added because I have added it after comment. Okay, so after comment, you will see entire Bootstrap, and whatever you add after this, it will be after your Bootstrap file. Okay, so you can override anything after this. Okay, and this makes actually sense because your entire uh, global styles will be included in styles.css itself. So you can include it here as well or Angular.json as well. That's totally fine. Both ways will work in the same way because as you can see now, Bootstrap was included in the styles.css itself. And here also the same thing is happening. Okay. So both the ways are fine. Okay. Don't use this index.html way. Even though it was working with, even though if it is working with node modules, okay, I would not recommend it because when Angular creates a build, it will not wrap it inside a style.css. It will create a new link for it, and that new link will be downloaded separately. Okay. If you want to check now, you can just, I will uncomment this. Bootstrap will be included 2 times. Okay. But what happens here is like if you go in the network tab, okay, here you can see like 9 requests are there. Okay. If I refresh this page, I'll see 10 requests. One more request was there because of this bootstrap.main.css. Okay. Now this request obviously going to take some time, like maybe 38 milliseconds, maybe on slower machine it may take more than milliseconds. Okay. So, but this extra request has been made. Okay. If you want to remove that extra request, just comment this one and include style in your same file. So now you can see bootstrap.main.css request has been removed. Okay. That will add a extra burden, but single file will not do anything. But you have a multiple CSS files, then it may add some response time into your application. Understood, everyone? How to include a global style in your application? Include Bootstrap in your application because we are going to work on Bootstrap. We are going to add some styling, okay. And then later on we will work on. Once done, just let me know. Cool. Here you can include this in this way. Okay, I'm just putting it for your reference. Okay, but I need to remove it because Angular.json will not work. Use this method. I think, in my opinion, this method is good, but you can use this as well. Okay. totally fine. Both will work.
So what's the difference between SCSS and CSS?
SCSS is like a programming language for CSS, you can say. Okay, so here in SCSS you can write functions in CSS, and you can run functions. You can write mixins. Okay, mixins like you can create variables in SCSS. Okay, which will ultimately create like CSS file. There are SCSS compilers as well, so they will create a CSS file because browser will only understand CSS. Browser will not understand SCSS. But if you want to write some dynamic CSS, okay, then you can use SCSS. Okay.
So do I have to create an SCSS file because I have styles.css, not SCSS?
Use bootstrap.css then. Okay. If you have a because you might have created a project when you created a project, you might have selected a CSS option, okay, not a CSS option. That's why,
Yeah, yeah. Create,
yeah,
selected.
yes, because in your Angular.json you will also find this schematic is not available.
Okay.
So if
No.
you want to add a schematic, you can add this schematic, then SCSS files will work. And also this one, inline language, inline style language SCSS. If you add this to lines your angular.json, then your SCSS will work. Okay, otherwise only CSS will work.
So
Because of
it's
this schematic, the SCSS preprocessor will trigger. Okay, and it will convert your SCSS file to CSS file. If you don't add this schematic, then only CSS file will be ready.
okay. So it's fine. Like if I have
Yeah,
that
that's fine. If you use only
SCSS in styles in Angular JSON, it's
yeah,
fine,
yeah,
right?
that's totally fine. If you use CSS, that's totally fine. But later on, when we add some styles, because I'm going to add some hierarchical styles, those hierarchical styles will not work in CSS. Okay, you need to convert that to proper CSS way. Uh, so when that time comes, just remind me. I will tell you the equivalent CSS for that.
Sure.
Done.
Then, what about others?
Done, sir.
Okay, cool. Okay, everybody add this in your application because the application which we are going to build is totally based on Bootstrap. So we'll need Bootstrap CSS. Now we have added Bootstrap into our application. Now let's convert the code. Let's add some of the code in your application so that we can use Bootstrap. Now currently it is just like it's not looking better. Okay. So first I will add a navbar to my application. To add a navbar, I'll go to there's a navbar section in components. You can find it here. Okay. You can copy this one. I'll just copy this entire HTML and I will put it here. Title I will add later on. I don't need this form, so I'll just remove it. I don't even need this li tags for now. Okay. Even this li tag I can remove it. Later on we will add some links when we come to routing part, URL routing and navigation. At that time we will add some URLs here. Okay. But for now just keep it as it is. Okay. And this this navbar a title I will change it to title only. Title. So title will be displayed there. Refresh. Okay, now you can see my application, my navbar is shown. But let's change the color. Okay, and use the color schemes here. So navbar dark and bg primary. So I'll use this blue color. You want to use any other color, you can use it. This one. This. Okay. So now it looks better. Now here also you can see like this. Uh, this is like there is a very small gap here. Okay. So for this, you can use a container class. Okay. And, if you know Bootstrap, then you might be knowing the container class, which basically adds some padding and margin to your div. So this app product list, we can wrap it inside a container class. So I'll just use container here. So it has added space on left and right hand side, but there is no space on the top. Okay, because container class doesn't add margin or padding on the top and top side. Okay, so we can do one more thing. There are some utility classes which we can use. Uh, there is a spacing. Okay, the spacing class is basically like you can add M for margin, P for padding, T for top, bottom, start, and X means left and right, Y means top and bottom. And these are the sizes like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and auto. Okay. So if you use MT0, that means margin top 0 will be added. If you use MS1, margin left will be added with one that spacing, whatever the spacing is specified. Okay. So I want to add top margin, right? So I'll use empty and let's use MT5. So it will add 3 rem of margin. So for this, I'll specify MT-3. Okay, and let's see. Okay, so you can see the small amount of space has been added here for this. Okay, MT3. So margin top 1 rem. Achha, MT3 I have used. I can use MT5. Let's see what MT5, how much space it has. Okay, that's enough. Okay, MT5. So you can work with it. So you can use MT5, MT3, whatever it works for you. So that's how we have added a top bar and then some spacing. Now let's add some styling to this particular element or product. Okay, we have a product and we have some elements into it like product type name, description, then price. Okay, ID is there. Okay, so let's add some styling to that as well. If you want to add, you can add it now, or if you want to add it later, you can add it. It's just you just need to copy paste, huh? Everything. Because I don't need to type this entire thing. Okay. I can see this is like an app component. It's a part of app component. So I'm keeping it in the app component. If you want to keep it as a separate component, like header component itself, then you can create a separate component, header component, and that you can put this entire code, and then that header component you can add it here. So that only header component needs to be changed. But there is no lot. There is not much of code that I need to write, so I'm just putting it here. So, but it's up to you, and it's up to your application that you want to. Just let me know, or then we can add some styling for product.
Done.
Well, cool. What about others? Okay, great. Now let's add some styling to this product as well. I want to make this product as a grid format. Okay, so I'll use rows for this. So for rows, you can use this layout part. Okay, uh, the grid itself, I think you'll find it. So here I can use rows. Okay, row and call option. Okay, so I'll use this one. Let's go to product list, and for this div, this entire div is nothing but you can say a one object. Okay, so I want to add this into a call. Okay, so this should be like a column. So here I'll say class as call. Okay. So this will be like a column. But if I run this, I'll get a lot of columns in a single line, and they will overflow. Okay, I have like four objects. Okay, so this way this that doesn't look good, right? So let's do one thing for medium to large devices. Use three columns. For smaller device, below medium, let's use two columns. And for our smaller devices, we can use single column. Okay. So for that, you can use this like call one, call two. Okay. But there is a better way to adjust it because they have introduced row calls. Once row hyphen calls. Yeah, row calls and the number. Okay, so if you specify row calls 2, okay, then two columns will be included. Even if you have four columns, then two columns will be shown. Okay, two columns. If you include three, then three columns will be shown. Okay, if you have four, then three and one. It's like this. Okay, so even if you include a lot of columns inside one row, okay, they will be divided based on this calls. Okay, so as I told you, for medium to high device, large devices, I'm going to use three column layout. So I'll use row calls two, three, but it will be MD3. Okay. So MD3 means medium to medium devices and upper devices. Then for let's say for smaller devices to upper devices, it will be two, and for others, I can say row calls one. Okay. Now let's see what happens. Now it has been 3. Okay, because medium to high devices means like greater than 760 pixel, I guess. Okay, 980 basically. You can see when I come down, you'll see two columns. If I come down again, you'll see one column there. Okay, that's how your grid has been. Okay. Now let's convert this entire product to a card. Okay, so we have a card here. Okay. I just use this one, copy and paste. Okay. I'll use this card, and inside this card, I'll comment this img. I am going to add image later on, but I will comment this for now. Okay. I need to use title here, so I'll use product.name dot paste, product.description here, paste. Okay, and then we are going to add one contact for price. Okay, so product.price, and yeah, here I'll change this to add to cart. I'll comment this for now. Later on when we use add to cart functionality, that at that time we will enable it, and this rest of the stuff I'll remove it. Okay. Let's see how our cards look like. Okay, they look good, but there is some like there is no spacing. Okay, and when I like close this, they gets overlapped. Okay, so there should be some width for this card. Okay, so card has there is a width added here. Okay, 18 rem. That's why it's taking. So I'll just remove it for now. It is responsive. Okay, but there is still some this. So let's use gutters. I guess there are some gutters in layouts. These gutters will basically give the spacing between columns and rows. Okay. So if you add gx file, so it will give the spacing in left and right. If you use gy file, then a gy star, then it will give the spacing in a top row or like top row and bottom row. Okay. And if you simply use g file, then I think it will add spacing on all the sides. Okay. So let's use G5 or G3, G2, whatever. Okay. And this should be for call. No, it is for row. Okay, not for call. So let's add G4 or G3. Okay, now this spacing looks good. Okay, everyone is spaced equally. Okay, even though if I squeeze it, the spacing will remain as it is. Okay, now this looks good. Okay, now we have a styling as well in place. Now let's continue. Okay, but first add this styling on your own, then we can. By the way, got it. Like I think I hope you guys know Bootstrap. So anyone doesn't know whatever I have done here, or don't have any idea about Bootstrap.
So it would be great if you can repeat like this thing.
This one, okay. So see, like this one is good, right? Don't need to explain this.
Yeah,
That's fine. But for this, see, we want to repeat this product. Okay. So what I have done is for product, I'm using a div, and inside div, I'm putting a card here. Okay. And this div is nothing but one column. Okay. So every year in Bootstrap, when you use layouts, okay, layouts are basically divided into rows. Okay, rows and columns. Okay. For each row, we add columns. So for each row we have a column. So we need to divide now basically in Bootstrap we have a 12 grid system. Okay, but we can increase that grid system as well by customizing it. But usually we have a 12 grid system. 12 grid system means what? In a single row I can add 12 columns. Okay, so here when I say one row, and inside that I can add 12 such columns. Okay, but this has been changed, and by using grid column layout and grid layout and flex layout of latest CSS properties, so we can add as many columns as we want inside a single row. Okay, so there will not be any restriction. Okay, so in a single row I can add as many columns as I want. Okay, but if the spacing is smaller, then they will overlap or they will be like squeezed. Okay, so to avoid that we can use this row calls. Okay, so what row calls does is, so it will assign number of columns inside a row. Okay, so when I say row calls 1, that means in a single row only one column will be shown. When I say row calls 2, then a single column, a single row, only 3 columns or 2 columns will be shown. If I want to show you separately, I'll just keep it here. Div.call. Okay, and here I'll say content. Okay, I just copy this, let's say 5 times. Okay, so if I say row calls 1, okay, that means I have added in a one single row there are 5 columns. Okay, if I don't do this, okay, then you will see 5 columns. I'll just comment the row part. I'll just not be able to comment it. See, okay, so now if you see there are like 5 columns in a single row. Whatever you do, like you can squeeze it, you can increase this. Okay, but after some point it will obviously go below that. threshold. Okay, and then it will automatically adjust. But for like smaller devices up to I guess 400 something pixel, it is taking all the 5 columns. Okay, after before below that it will break. Okay, but you can see for all the devices, majorly for all larger devices, there will be 5 column layout always. Okay, and if I want to change it, like if I say row calls 1, then whatever device you use, every device will have 1 column in a one row. See, okay. So if I squeeze it as well or make it a large, every device will have a single column. Okay, but if I do it like 2, so every device will have 2 columns. Okay, like this. Okay. So that's how we have used this. But when I say call row calls SM or row calls MD, okay, these are the breaking points. Okay, if you check the layouts, there are some break points. Okay, for extra small devices like less than 576 pixel, we don't need to specify any infix. But for small devices, you can specify SM. That means if the device size is greater than equals to 576, then when you specify SM and whatever the style that you specify for SM will be applied for devices which has width greater than or equal to 576. Okay, so if I say calls 1, okay, and if I say calls hyphen SM1, SM2, okay, then what will happen is when I go below 576 pixel, only 1 column will be shown. And if I go above 576 pixel, then the 2 column layout will be shown. Okay, you can check the basically resolution is shown on the top right corner. You can check. Okay, see it's 980 pixel now. So currently it is 2 column layout. See, as soon as I go below 576 pixel, it has changed to 1 column layout. Okay, and above that it has changed to 2 column layout. Okay, that's because I've specified row calls SMS2 and row calls 1. Okay, now, there are a few more like MD for medium devices, LG for large, XL for extra large, and XXL for extra large. Okay, so their dimensions are also mentioned. So when I say MD, so that means greater than or equal to 768 pixels are there. So if I use this MD here, okay, and if I say 3, so for devices which has a size greater than equals to 768 pixel, it will be divided into 3 column layout, and for devices which has size less than 768 pixel and greater than equals to 576 pixel, will be divided into 2 columns, and for less than 576 pixel, it will be 1 column. Okay, so that's how it is divided. I can see my resolution is less than 768 pixel. That's why I can see 2 column. Below 576, it is 1 column. 576 to 768 will be 2 column, and after 768, it will be 3 column. Okay, that's so that's how we have divided this column there. Okay. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We can do this and then we will move. Then
Done.
what's the difference between Bootstrap and MD Bootstrap? MD Bootstrap is like material design Bootstrap. So it's like a uh,
Paid version.
material design is a wrapper around your Bootstrap. Okay, so it will have a material design concept, and Bootstrap is like its own library, own framework. Use MD Bootstrap, you can see it's like a material design for Bootstrap. Okay, so material design is a concept. Okay, so like if you have a button, then you can have a ripple effect like this. This is just a concept, okay, of material design. That concept is applied to Bootstrap. Okay. So whatever Bootstrap components we have, so if you see button here, okay, it will not have a ripple effect. If I click on this, you will not see ripple effect here. Okay, so that ripple effect you will find it here because that's a concept of material design. So they have just applied concept of material design to Bootstrap. That's it. There are other concepts as well. Use MD Bootstrap instead. You can use, that's fine. Okay, but I'm using Bootstrap because it's simple for now. Okay, I don't want to complicate things. We are here for Angular. Okay, so that's why I'm not using MD Bootstrap. Later on, when in the last when the our course will complete, at that time I will take a lecture where lecture in the sense two lectures where i'll I will do the project from start to end, and in that I will take a material bootstrap material library for Angular. So I will tell you how to use Angular material library, okay, for Angular project. And you can that's a like all other libraries are similar. Okay, so just you have to follow the documentation, their documentation, use it. Angular material is like a bootstrap. It's not like a bootstrap. Okay, it's basically uh, you can say CSS library itself, but it has more into it. Okay, like it has its own material components as well. Okay, so which has a JavaScript related functionality as well. Okay, so it's a again a CSS plus JS framework. Okay, but not a JS framework. You can say like Angular or
It is tied, but Angular material is tightly coupled with Angular itself, right?
yes,
It is like
correct.
maintained by the Angular team.
Yes, correct. It is made by Angular team and it is tightly coupled with Angular. That's why
It is also uses
also
like
prefer
ng commands.
ng commands. Yes. So because that framework or material library has been created by Angular itself, so ng commands also works with that. But they have like a separate library as well, like CDK library, which you can use separately for any other library. Okay. See, they have for the concept of JavaScript, they have just separated out. That's a different thing. Instead of Bootstrap, we can also use material, right? Yes, you can also use. But for now, just focus on the basic CSS. Okay. I don't want to make it complex. Okay. So don't use material for now. Okay. Later on in the course, I will take Angular material. And at that time, you will see. For now, just if you want to use it, you can use it. But later on, some problems will come. Then again, I'll have to stop the lecture and then we'll have to solve your problem. So it will be better if you stick to a simple format. Done, everyone?
Then
Vertical space is not working for me.
Vertical space is not working. Means this one, this space.
Yes, sir.
You have to add gutter to your row class. Row, wherever you are adding a row class, there you have to add
Mm-hmm.
gutter.
Yes, I have added that, sir. I've also tried GX and GY, but it's still not.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you share your screen?
Okay.
Or better, let's share after the lecture. Okay. Yes,
Okay, sir.
we can move on. The styling is not a very important. Okay. So let's move on to the next topic. Okay. So we have added styling for now. Okay. Later on, we will also add some basic stylings based on our topics. Okay. So the next topic which we are going to learn is about data binding. Okay. Now, what is data binding? Data binding is obviously a powerful feature in Angular framework. Okay. Other libraries or framework also supports data binding. Okay. But Angular supports two types of data bindings. Okay. Majorly, one is one-way data binding and another is two-way data binding. Okay. In one-way data binding also we have a lot of other types as well. Okay. One is called as property binding. Another is event binding. Okay. In property binding also we have a simple property binding. Then there is a style binding, class binding. Okay. So we are going to see that. Okay. And even in property binding and one more type of binding is there in one way binding, that is nothing but a string interpolation, which we have already seen. Okay. Data binding is nothing but a data that you have to bind it to a HTML page. Okay. So that's nothing but a data binding. So we have already seen one of the type, which is nothing but your string interpolation. So we have a variable in your class file and we are using that variable in your HTML file. Okay. That is nothing but one of the data binding itself. Okay. So this data binding basically will is divided based on the data flow. So from where your data is flowing. Okay. So if your data is flowing from your TypeScript or JavaScript file to your HTML file, okay, then that is one of the type of data binding. Okay. And then sometimes it may happen that your data will flow from HTML file to JavaScript file. Okay. That time also we will have, is there a difference in loading time of site when we use CDN or downloading? If you are using CDN, okay, then in that case your like library depends on your internet. Okay, so if your internet is slow, then your site will load slow. Okay, and if you are directly using the file inside your application, then you are not even though you are not using internet, it will load fast because your application, entire application along with your style is located in your local server itself, so it will load fast. Only in the case of CDN, if you have like if your internet is slow, then it will load slow. Okay. Okay, size of the file doesn't matter, right? Size of the file also matters, but what happens is your browser caches your file first time. Okay, so next time if you load that same file, it will pick it from the cache. Okay, you can check it out in the network tab. Some files are cached and they will be picked it from the cache itself. I think it's not here. Let's see the index.html file. Based on the response parameter, okay, they are cached. See, bootstrap.main.css. If you check here, it is this cache. Okay, it is loaded from this cache. Okay, so if it is loaded from this cache, then it will be faster. Okay, otherwise it will be slow. So this basically depends on the response time. Okay, not response time, response headers. Okay, which you are using. Well, now see, as I told you, like the data can flow from your HTML to JavaScript as well. So that time also will need a binding. Okay, but let's see the first binding where the data can flow from your TypeScript or JavaScript file to your HTML file. Okay, one way we have already done it. Okay, which is nothing but string interpolation. So we have a variable here, and we have used that variable here in HTML file by using curly braces or string interpolation. Okay. Now there is another binding. Okay, so this data we are directly, it's like a free flow data because we can use it anywhere. Okay, in your HTML page. But sometimes what happens is like we have some attributes of your HTML tags. Okay, let's say this img tag, right? Img tag it has this src attribute. It has class attribute. It has alt attribute. Okay, so all of these are attributes when we come to HTML. But when we come to JavaScript, okay, so all of these attributes are converted into your properties. JavaScript has a DOM. Okay, so in that DOM we have a property. So if you use an img tag and if you use document.getElementById and that element is nothing but img tag, then on that img tag we can call .src. That src is nothing but a property. Okay, so when we come to JavaScript, it is called as property. And when we are dealing in an Angular, okay, so all of these attributes, if you want to convert them into a property, we use a special symbol called as square brackets. Okay, so we wrap your attribute inside a square bracket, then that attribute becomes JavaScript property. Okay, and as soon as I wrap inside a attribute inside a uh, square bracket, your value is not a simple value. Okay, it's not a string value or number or anything. It is nothing but your JavaScript expression. Okay, so here whatever you write, it should be JavaScript expression. Okay, if you write like hi here, okay, this will not work because hi will be considered as a variable. Okay, and we don't have any variable in product list, but we don't have any high variable in product list. Okay, so that's why it is going to throw an error. Property high does not exist on type product list component. Okay, so sorry. So here you should add some variable. Okay, or you can add, if you want to add a string, you can add a string as well by putting it in a single quote. Okay, if you want to add double quotes as well, that's fine. But make sure your outer double quotes are converted to single quote. Okay, so here let's say we will add a src. Okay, let's say we have a products here. Let's add some images to this product. So I will add image tag to this. Okay, and in this image tag I will add some images. So let's add images. Search for iPhone 14, right? iPhone 14. Go to images, download some images. Let's say this one. So open image in new tab, save image. Now I will save this in my assets folder. Okay, because you know assets folder is directly accessible, so I can save it there. So let's go to like the same. Right? No, in we have a store folder in that src assets. Okay, I'll save it here. I'll name it as iPhone 14. I'll change the name. Okay, iPhone 14. Okay, so iPhone 14.webp. Okay, and let's say Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. Galaxy S22 Ultra. Okay, I'll use this one. You can also download images side by side. Save image as. I'll save it as S22 Ultra. Is again JPG. Okay, make sure you're using whatever the files are downloaded. The extensions are whatever the extensions are. You should use those extensions while loading it. Okay. So S22 Ultra Pixel 6. I'll use this one. Open image in new tab. Save image. Pixel 6.jpg. And the last one is Redmi 10. I will add two more products. Okay, I just don't want all of them to be like mobile itself. Okay, I'll add two more products. Okay, so let's say this is Redmi 10. Save image. Redmi 10.png. Okay, so we have all sort of files here. Let's add two more products. 5, 6. Okay. Fifth one will be, let's say, LG TV. So this, let's say, price will be, let's say, 35,000. LG TV. Okay, LG Smart TV. Let's pick this one. Open image in new tab. Oops, this is smaller. Oh, this is bigger. Open image in new tab. Okay. Save image. LG TV. It is JPEG. And I will add one more. Let's say washing machine. Let's use another whirlpool. So let's use this one. Open image in new tab. Save whirlpool. Okay. So all of the files images are there. Okay. Washing machine. And let's keep its price as 25. Now let's add images. Okay, so the image paths. Okay, you have to add image URLs here. Okay, so you don't need to add the entire path. Okay, let's say localhost 4200 slash. Okay, you don't need to add that. So all of them are inside assets folder. So you can directly write slash. Okay, this is like iPhone 14.webp. Okay, just make sure whatever file you are downloaded, you are using the file name the same. I'll use this here as well. Here, here, and here. Okay. So this is iPhone 14. This is S22 Ultra dot JPEG. Okay. This will be Pixel 6 dot JPG. Then we have a Redmi 10 dot PNG. Then we have LG has TV dot JPEG. And then we have Whirlpool dot JPEG. Okay, so all of the images are there. Okay, so there is an image image property, image key has been added to your product. Now let's use this image key here. How can we use it? Okay, so we can use it like this as well. Product dot, because we are inside a for loop. Okay, and image tag is also inside for loop. So we can use this product. Okay, so make sure that whatever you are writing product, okay, it should be inside this div itself. Okay, if you add this product outside of, if you use this product outside of this div, then it will not be accessible. Okay, because your for loop is only uh, accessible inside this div. Okay, outside of this div, you don't have product access to this product area. Okay, so people make this mistake sometimes. So I'm just giving you a heads up. So here I can use product dot image. Okay, so as soon as you do this, your images will show up here. Okay, I think there are some errors. Maybe images are not found. Oh, I use slash. Okay, it's asset slash assets. Okay, it should be slash assets slash. I'll replace all of this. Dash updates. So all of the images are shown now. Okay, but all of them are like looking like everyone has a different height. Okay, we can change it. Okay, but everyone got how to use this property binding. Okay, the property binding we can use it with square bracket. So whatever attribute that you have, you can use any attribute. Okay, any attribute will work. Okay, but that attribute should have equivalent property in JavaScript. Okay, why I'm saying this, because some of the attributes don't have equivalent property in JavaScript. Okay, so if you say table has a call span and row span. This row span and call span, these attributes are not available in JavaScript property. Okay, so if you use call span directly, it will not show you the call span value. Okay, so in that case, you can use it, but there is another way. I will show you. But if you can only use the properties or attributes which have a direct value or property in JavaScript. Okay, so like this src also we have a alt as well. So for alt as well we have a property. We can change alt to product.name. So if the image is not available, then this alternate text will be shown. Okay, which will be shown here if there is no image available. Okay, right now we have image available for us, but here in the HTML you can see for alt we have this name. Okay. So name is displayed here. You can see that. Okay. So that's how you can add property binding. Okay. Obviously you can do this way as well. Okay, like string interpolation as well. Okay, that is totally possible. You can do all like this and then wrap this inside curly braces. This will also do. This will also do. See, still you are getting Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. Okay. So both the ways are possible, but this looks weird. That's why we can use this property binding. Okay. Since that is available, you can use it. So everyone understood property binding?
Yes.
Cool. Do it. Once done, just let me know.
So what is it? One-way bind and two-way binding?
This is one-way binding. One-way binding means what? The data will flow in a one way itself. So
Like
here
from
you can
JS
see
to
the
HTML.
product image that we have shown here. It is only flowing from JavaScript file to HTML file.
Okay.
Okay, we cannot do it from HTML to JavaScript.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If we change product.image here, that will not affect here. Okay. For
Okay.
that, we have another type of binding, and two-way in the two-way binding, both the things are happen in a single place. Okay, we will see that later.
Okay.
But
Like
understood?
in two-way binding, if we do any modification in HTML,
Hmm?
then that modification will get replicated in JavaScript also.
Yes. Actually, how this happens now, most of the people don't know. I will tell you how it happens. Okay.
Okay.
Then we come to two-way binding.
Okay.
Done, sir.
And good. Is there any optimal size for images? Do we ever need to compress the image while considering loading speed? Yeah, you can reduce the image size. Okay, you should actually, because the images will add your the larger images will add loading time to your website. Your response time. So you should always optimize your images. You can do that externally, or you can use some build tools as well. That will also help. Uh, it depends on every image. Okay, actually, if you reduce it to too small, then it may affect the visibility of that image. Okay. Also, any specific tool? There are like a lot of tools. Okay, you can have a your own build tool as well. You can use Gulp.js, okay, which basically helps you to compress images before building your application. Okay, but there are like online tools as well. Okay, that also you can use it. Like for JPEG images, you can use up to like 50% is enough. Okay, 50 to 60% compression is enough. Below that, that will reduce the visibility of that image. Okay. Their images may get pixelated. But for PNGs, I don't think you can reduce the size, because if we have in PNGs we have a transparency. The transparency will be lost if you reduce, if you compress. JPEG is better than PNG because they are they load faster. Okay, and we can also load like before loading an entire image, we can have a preview for JPEG. Okay, for PNG it's not possible. Okay, but there are other formats as well. Like WebP is much faster than, or much we can compress it to like smaller size in WebP as well. Okay, so you can use WebP as well. That's why you can see like most of the like some of the images iPhone 14 we are using WebP, and WebP is
Can, can we use the SVG?
your voice is not audible. There is a background noise, Sagar.
Can we use the SVG format?
You can use SVG, but SVG I would recommend for icons, and if you have animations, SVG animations, then only use it, because SVG also is like a
Okay.
XML, so it may increase the size, or SVG rendering will be like a overhead. Again, one more overhead. Images like they are pixels, they can be directly plotted, but SVG like rendering may take some time based on your SVG size or SVG's complexity. Which license for images? So if the images are available online, you can use it however you want. Okay, yeah, everything available online, it's you can use it. Okay, even your code can be used by any other people. Okay, if you have license, okay, then there are some restrictions as well. If there is copyright things are possible, then like copyright things can be done. So we have some licenses for like MIT licenses there, then Apache license is also there. So you need to read through the licenses. I don't know much about those licenses, which license does what. Okay, you can read through them. And for images also, like if you are copying it from uh, some well-known sites like remember image sites, but
Unsplash.
you cannot use them publicly. You can use it for your own purpose, but don't use it publicly or commercially. Yes, if you are like If their site says that if you are using their image, then attribute to the person or the original company or website, then you should add some copyright or like not copyright, the name or their uh, author name. Okay. You should attribute to that where you have picked from where you have picked these images. That you can do it. Yes. So in code, where do we have to do that? You can like in code. Actually, if you are on HTML page or if you are displaying that image below that image or wherever you want to do it, but do it in a where you are showing it. Okay. Generally, when you post a image to a Facebook, you give a big credit, right? PC colon whoever has captured your picture. So that way also you can add an image. Okay. Okay, Johara. So if you have any questions outside of this, then we can discuss that later on. Okay. We can come focus on Angular first. Yeah. So now we have used property binding. Okay, for SRC and alt attribute. Okay, we have a lot of attributes, other attributes as well. We can use convert them to a property and use them as a property binding. Okay. Now there are some like let's say there are some attributes. Okay, which has multiple values. Okay. So if you say if you see this SRC attribute or SRC property and alt property, this has like a single value. If you use SRC, it has a product image which is single value. Alt, which is a single value as a name. Okay. But some of the properties in the sense like there are only two properties, okay, or two attributes in HTML, which has multiple values. Okay. One is class. Class can have multiple classes. Class attribute can have multiple classes. And another is style. Style can have multiple styles. Style attribute can have multiple styles. Okay. If you want to add a style, okay, now how do you add a style? Inline style. Let's say inline style. If you want to add inline style to particular element, okay, how do you add it? Okay. You cannot do something like this. Okay, style equals to direct. Okay, because style is not a does not have a single value. Okay, so there are two ways you can add a style property. Okay, one is directly after style that you want to apply. Okay, let's say this images has doesn't have a specific width or height, or let's say doesn't have specific height. Okay, because they are like all of them are different having different height. Okay, so let's use some height for those images. Right now I think 220 or something. This one is having 220 height, right? This one is having 140. So 220 height looks good, okay? Or 200, let's say 200 pixel. So 200 pixel, let's add 200 pixel height to this. So how do you add a height? Generally, if you want to add a style, you can add a style equals to then height colon, okay? Let's say 100 or 200 pixel, like this, okay? Or if you want to add width as well, you can add semicolon, width colon, 200, something like that. Okay, this is a regular way of adding a style. Okay, but if you want to add a style using property binding, okay, because property binding you will use it whenever there is a dynamic value. Okay, don't use it for static values. Huh? For static values, you can obviously have this style band. Okay, like normal way. In the normal way, you can do it for static values, but use this only if you have a dynamic values. Okay, I'm directly showing it here because there I can use a variable also, but I'm not going to change it. So I'm directly using it. Okay. So style, I want to add a style height to a style using style. So I'll use style dot height. Okay. And since I'm going to add pixel, I'll add a unit here itself dot px and equals to 200. Okay. Yes. If you do this, your height will be added. You can see every product has the same height now. Okay, you can check it out. And for IMG, style height colon 200 pixel has been added. The same way that we have done before. Okay, like for static value, the same is converted. The dynamic value or property binding is converted to your static value. Style equals to height colon 200 pixel. Okay, and if you want to add more styles to this, you can add it. Okay, let's say if you want to add a background color. Okay, so you can add style dot background hyphen color, okay, equals to, I think hyphen color doesn't work. It's a proper in the property we use a background C color. Okay, capital C we use it. Okay, because we doesn't have a variable called as background hyphen color. Okay, so in JavaScript we use background C capital. Okay, camel case. So here you can specify the color name. Okay, now color is a string. Okay, this 200 was a number, so I can directly write it. But if I write a color like this, if I want to use red color, if I use this, then red will be considered as a variable because we are using property bind, the square bracket. So here we should use some expression. So if I want to specify a red color, I can use single quote, and inside that single quote, I can write a color. Okay, I can write red color. The red color, everyone will have a background as red. Now this will not show because there is no transparency for these images, but since this is a PNG image, it has a transparency. That's why you will see background red color. And here also you can see background color red has been added. Okay, so I'm just removing that because it looks weird. So I'm removing this. But that's how you can basically add styling. Okay, understood how to add a style for a like a property binding for a style.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Great. Okay. I'll show you the other way as well. Okay, then you can write it down. So other way is like you can create an object, and let's say you have a lot of styles. Okay, then including them here will be like you have to create a lot of variables. Okay, so you have if you have let's say 10 styles you want dynamically. Okay, then in that case you'll have to write style dot this, style dot this, style dot this, and you will have to use 10 different variables for that. Okay, so instead what you can create a variable object here. Okay, let's say I'll use my style object here equals to this is the object. Okay, and this object should contain key value pair. Now key should be your style property and value should be styles value. Okay, so if you have a height pixel you want to add, you can add single quote height dot px colon 200 comma. If you want to add background as well, use background color colon red. Okay. And I can remove this. Instead of removing it, I'll just copy it here and let's say we'll comment it out. I'll just comment it so that it will be there. Now, instead of doing this, what you can do is now you don't need to add a lot of properties here for all the styles. What you can do is you can add a ng style. Okay, if you are using ng style, okay, that means you need to specify object here. Okay, and that object should have key value pair. In the key it should be a style property and value should be the style property style. So here you can specify my style object entirely now. Now this my style object will basically replace all the styles here, and all the styles will be applied here as an inline style. You can check, refresh. You can still see now the style equals to height colon 200 pixel, background color as red. But you will see one more attribute has been added here now. Ng reflect ng style. Okay, that is and its object is basically for Angular's own purpose. Okay, so it tracks your style using this attribute, and this is for development purpose only. In the production, this attribute will not be there. Okay, so this will be for production purpose only, development purpose only. Okay, to track the style ng style. Okay, so that's how you can use styling. Okay. So either you can specify an object here or you can directly specify. Now you can see If I want to change any value, I can just change a value from the object. Okay. I don't have to create lot of variables here, and I don't have to add lot of properties here. I can simply specify ng style, and I can pass my object. Whenever I want to change, let's say, height of this object or height of this image, I can just change the height and it will be applied. Since it's a data binding, right? And data is flowing from your TypeScript to your HTML. So if I change value here, the value will be the my style will reflect here, and your value will be changed. Okay. Understood, everyone? How to use ng style as well for a property binding? Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Try it out, then we will see class binding. I'll just comment.
How to specify height in percentages, sir? We are using this ng style.
If you want to specify percentage, you can directly write height equals here percent, which will be applied as a
So
percentage. You can add
there is
unit as well, but I don't remember the unit. It's height 200%. I guess it's PRC, maybe. I don't remember it now because let's see. No, it's not PRC. It's not applied. Or let's say percent, I can directly add. Percent directly, I can add it. So it will be height 200%. We can use any unit. If you want to use the RAM, EM, you can use it. You can specify this way as well. Huh? This way also works. Is it done? Then
Done.
okay. What about others? Okay. I think others are still writing. So I'll wait. Okay. Okay. I hope everyone is done. Now let's see class binding. The class is like a same thing. Okay. So class also has multiple values. Okay. Like multiple. Okay. So for class also we can use class dot class name. Okay. And ng class. Okay. But there is a difference between ng style or style and class. Okay. So when you specify a style, we actually specify value as any like number or string. But for class, we should specify boolean value. Why? Let's see. I'll do one thing. There is a product list.html. Let's do one thing. Let's add a class here for this top bar. Okay. Let's add one button which will basically toggle this theme. Okay, based on class. Okay. Based on class, this like image the navbar background will change. And the navbar is inside my app component. So I'll go to app component here. Okay. And this app component doesn't have any CSS. Okay. And class for CSS, we can add it like class, we can add it in CSS. So I'll create a file here, right click, new file, app.component. Okay, before creating a style, okay, let's see how to add style directly. Okay, how to add style directly in a component itself without using any style. Okay, we have already seen how to use a style here. Okay, we can directly add a style URL. Okay, but let's see how to add style directly inside a component. So here you can specify comma, and then you can specify styles. There are two options: styles and style URLs. So style URLs are used to specify URLs, and styles is used to specify styles. Styles is a plural word, so that means it's an array. Inside, we can specify the styles like classes, anything. Okay, I'm specifying template string here because I need to add it in a multiple. In single quote, double quote, I will not be able to do it in a multiple lines. So I'm using template string here. Let's add class. Let's say we already have a BG primary class here. Okay, BG primary class basically adds a blue color. So let's add BG hyphen purple. Not BG. So this class will have background hyphen color colon. I'll use this color. What is the color of this now? Header. It's transparent. Let me do one thing. This color. This is copy. Paste. Okay, it should be hash. Semicolon. Okay. So I have this class BG purple. Now I want to use this BG purple class here. Okay, so BG primary class we have it. Okay, so this should be dynamic. Okay, so based on some button function, okay, we can do it. Okay, but before that, we need to understand event handling as well. Okay, so let's do that later on. I will change it theme later on when we see event handling. But first, let's see how to add a color here. Okay, so I'll add, let's say I'll define a class. Or before defining a class, let's see how to add a class dynamically here. So since this we are using class binding, so we'll use single square brackets class dot, okay, the class name. Okay, so BG primary. So I want to add a BG primary class, or let's say BG purple class, BG purple. Okay, and here I should write a boolean value. So if it is true, okay, if it is true, that means this class will be applied. If it is false, that means this class will not be applied. Okay, I have removed BG primary class, so there will not be any blue color. But since I'm using BG purple, so that class will be applied here. If you see refresh your page, you will see the color is appearing because the class has been applied here for now. You can see the BG purple class here. Okay, that has been applied because I have said class.bg purple to true. If I say false here, there will not be any class added to this. See, there is this is a blank one because this the background color is white. Okay, and the text color is also white because I have used navbar dark. That's the reason the text color is white. But you can see the PG primary class has been removed from here. Okay, that's because the value is false. Okay, so if I say true, then it will come back again. So that's how you can add or toggle a class. Okay. So basically you can add class dot then class name. Okay. There can be hyphen as well. Okay, that works because class can have hyphens. So this works. So if you specify true value, then the class will be applied. If you specify false, then the class will not be applied. Okay. Now, okay. So, but one thing I want to show you, which is nothing but the class that we have applied here. Okay. Now this the class that we have applied will only affect this app component. Okay. It cannot affect any other component. Okay. Why so? Okay. Let's say I have used this BG purple class, right? And then BG purple class, you can see it is included. Okay. Now if I use this BG purple class in, let's say, product list component. Okay. And if I add the BG purple class, let's say for this row, it's a basic background color, so it should be applied, right? You will see there is no color to this background. Okay, I'll just copy this color and you can check for this row. We have a BG purple class. There is a BG purple class, but there is no color. You can check if I add a background here, but there is a background color, right? But this background color is not applied. Okay, why it is happening so? Why it is not applied here and it is applied here? Anyone can tell me? You
Because
know us, yeah, yes, and what's up?
yeah, because we have mentioned that class in app components style tag. I mean style URL or
Yeah,
whatever
that's
what it
fine.
is.
If you
Yeah.
specify the style URLs, it
Yes,
will
and
be
that will get limited to only to app component, and it
yes, it
won't
is
get
limited to app component.
passed
That's
down.
because you can see the PG purple class is in here, right?
Hmm.
That means it should be applied to anyone. When you load your file, PG purple class is loaded, but it should be applied to everyone, right? Everywhere if I use PG purple class, it should be applied. Although it is declared, but you can see it is loaded here in HTML. If the class is loaded here, that means it should be applied, but it is not. Any difference can you see here? How many of you know scoping, CSS scoping?
No idea.
No idea.
The important property you're saying, sir?
Not important properties, but there is a CSS scoping concept where you can scope particular style to that particular element itself. Okay. What do I mean by that? That means if you are adding any class, okay, and if you want to scope that class to a particular element itself, then you can do it. How can you do it? You can just specify this. You can see this square bracket. Square bracket, inside that square bracket, we have something here. Okay, you can check it here as well. Okay, if you go to this component, okay, nav, this component is already having one attribute ng content skc c12. Okay, this is actually added here in the square brackets. Okay, that means wherever I'm using this bg purple class, okay, it should have this attribute, then only this style will be applied. Otherwise, it will not be applied. Okay, and when you see the same with this row, the attribute is different. Ng content skc is there, but the C11 is there, and here it is C12. Okay, so here also we have a bg purple class. Okay, we have a bg. Where was it? Did I remove it? Or it is hidden? It is here. So here also we have a bg purple class. Okay, but the attribute is different. Okay, and since the attribute is different, okay, attribute is different, it is not applied here. The value is means background color is not applied here. Okay, and here it is applied because this is like we have this attribute. Okay, so what Angular does is when Angular creates components, okay, it adds proper attribute to all the elements of that component. Okay, and when it creates a style, okay, so I have added this style in app component itself, so it will bind that class to this particular attribute, which is actually applicable to all the components inside all the elements inside that component. Okay, app product list is a different component, that's why it has a different attribute. Okay, but all of the component inside app will, like all the HTML tags basically will have this attribute. Okay, and this is called as CSS scoping. We are scoping particular style to this element itself. Okay, where we have a bg purple class and this attribute, there only this style will be applied. If at all we have a bg purple class to other elements, but it doesn't have this property or attribute, then that class will not, that style will not be applied. That's the same thing which is happening here. Okay, so Angular, what it does is it adds styles based on your components. This is how it does it. Okay, and this is basically possible because of CSS scoping. Okay, understood everyone? CSS scoping.
So this will hold true even when we'll go for production.
Yes, this will also hold true for production. In production also you will find these attributes.
Okay. Like it will be added in CSS file also
Yes,
against, I mean, in front of our class name.
yes. It will be added in a CSS file. Okay, ultimate file that you create, ultimate CSS file that is created style.css. In that also this will be added. This attribute
Okay.
property.
Okay.
Only for global styles it is not applied. Okay, if you make this bg purple class as global, okay, then it will not be applied. If you want to check it out, just I'll cut it from here and I'll go to styles.css. This is the global style. Okay, if I add bg purple class here, that means this is global. Okay, and for this global style it will not add any attribute, okay, or any scoping. You can check here. If you refresh, what happened? bg purple class styles.css. I have added it. Refresh. Now you can see. Maybe not here. You can see now both are having the background color. Okay, because in this BG purple you can see there is no scoping added. Okay, here also when we have this row, for that row also we don't have a scope, because whenever you add any class to global styles.scss, there is no scope added to this. Okay, because it's not related to any component, it's global. That's why no scope has been added. But when you add it inside a particular component, in that case, that style will only be applicable to that particular component. Okay, so if I add it here, I add it here, then it will only be accessible for app component. Even if you do for in a SCSS file as well, then also this thing like this scoping will happen. Okay, because that CSS file is actually linked to your component, and that component attributes will be added to that CSS. Understood this CSS scoping? This is actually the part of CSS scoping. Okay, but Angular handles this way. So this is how makes your component like reusable and differentiable. Like if you use this same component anywhere in the project or anywhere in your application, and if you copy this component to another project as well, it will remain as it is. The style, uh, the functionality will remain as it is. That's what we call it as a modular approach, because your entire component is modular. It is independently working. Okay. Yes. What was the question?
Can we have like multiple properties to a single like a element?
Multiple properties.
Yeah,
In the sense,
C11, C12.
I couldn't get you. Multiple property. What?
Like here we have a property called C12. If I what we were in what we saw in the inspect element.
Inspect element. Okay, this one.
Yep. Yes, sir.
NP content sheet. Well, this is actually added by Angular. Okay, we haven't
Mhm.
added it anywhere. Okay, so it is added by Angular. So Angular adds it, and if you want to add it, you can add it. If you
Okay.
want to add, let's say, something XYZ, something like this, you can add it, and that will be visible here. See XYZ.
So it doesn't overrides the Angular property, it just adds to it.
No, Angular adds after you add anything. So it basically knows whatever you have added. If you add this same content, same property there, you can see every time it is changing. Previously it was SKC, now it is he. If you refresh again, it's change. Okay. So every time the attribute changes. Only when you make a production build, the production build is actually a final build. That time we don't create a build again and again. So it will actually contain all the values. Okay. So understood everyone, this class binding and how the Angular handles this class styling, okay, component based styling.
So
Yes. Yes.
And here also we can use ng class, okay, as we have used for ng style, we can use ng class as well here. Okay, if you have a ng class here, or let's say my classes here, and we have, let's say, multiple class bg primary, and here I'm specifying bg primary true, okay, and bg hyphen purple colon false. Okay, then when I come to HTML, okay, if I add my classes here, okay, I will just copy and paste it here or comment it out. ng class, and here I'll specify my classes. Okay, and if I do this, then what will happen is, since I have specified bg primary is true, bg primary class will be added, bg purple will not be added. You can check it out. bg primary class has been added here. Okay, and the new attribute has been added, ng reflect ng class. Okay, and if I specify bg primary as false and both are false, then both will not be added. Okay, So if you have a lot of classes and if you want to add those classes, add, remove those classes, you can just toggle them. Okay. It's not like you have to add at a time only one class. You can add as many classes as you want. Okay. You can make these two and make these two as well. So both of these classes will be added. Okay. So BG primary and BG purple both will be added, but only BG primary will, you can see BG primary and BG purple, but only BG primary will take effect because BG primary has a not important property. Okay. So it will basically override your BG purple class because of this not important. Okay. So that's how you can add classes, class binding. Understood everyone? Class binding.
Yes, sir.
Where can we get recorded lectures? You're attending this for first time, Arbas?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Give me your email ID in WhatsApp. I will add you to a classroom. Okay. Here I post all the materials, so you will get all the previous recordings as well.
Okay, sir.
You can give it to me now as well. I will add it here right away. Your also is first lecture. Okay. Give it to me after this. Okay, do this and then I think the time is over. We can stop here. Okay, and the rest of the bindings we will see tomorrow. Okay, but everyone, is it understood what is class binding and how to use it?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
try this out. Once done, just let me know. Then we can stop. Okay, no worries. I'll stop recording.